I want to show you a really great thing to do for your feet. I call it happy feet, and it's one of the absolute favorites of my yoga students. So we do it frequently in class. You won't need anything for this other than a comfortable place to sit. I'll show you how to sit on the floor, but you can also sit on a cushion or you can sit in a chair. So it might look like I'm leaning against the wall, but I'm actually sitting up tall. And I'm going to take my right foot and I'm going to take my fingers, 3 of my fingers, and pull the big toe out a little bit and then push it in. So it's like it's on a railroad track. You're pulling it away and then pushing it in. Use gentle motion. Don't do anything that's rough or hurtful for you when you're doing this practice. So I'm pulling it out, I'm pushing it in, pulling it out, pushing it in. And then I'm going to press the toe down toward the sole of the foot and press it up. So I'm just playing right now with the big toe down and up. You can take a lot of time with this. I will do a few repetitions of each variation, but I suggest that you just slow down and take your time and do the whole thing at your own pace. It could take a half an hour. Okay, now you're going to take the big toe, push it toward the other toes, and then pull it away. So I'm pushing and pulling. It feels really nice. And now, so we've gone in and out, up and down, side to side. So now we're going to circumduct the joint and stabilize your foot. And you're just going to take the toe in a circle 5 or 6 times one way and then go the other way. And then you're going to leave the toe and move on to the next one. So now we're using the second toe, pulling out. Now keep the joints, when you're pushing it, keep the joints in alignment. Don't let them crumple. So you can hold down a little bit, covering the second joint closer to the metatarsal, pulling out, pushing in, pulling away, pushing in. And then push the toe down, push the toe up, toe goes down, toe goes up, down, up, down, up, and then toward the other toes and toward the big toe. So it's toward the little toes and then toward the big toe, side to side. Now when you do this, you might notice that one toe has great range of motion and other toes don't. It's very interesting to learn your own toes. Now we will do the circumduction. Again, use a gentle touch. There's no need to be yanking on yourself. And then go the other way. And move on to the middle toe, pulling it out, pushing it in, keeping the toes and joints in alignment, pulling out, pushing in, pulling out, pushing in. Take your time. Then pull the toe down, push the toe up, pull the toe down, push the toe up and down and up and down and up, side to side, toward the little toes, toward the big toe, toward the little toes, toward the big toe, side to side, kind of like a metronome. And then hold the toe and begin to circle it 5 or 6 times one way and then the other way. Moving to the fourth toe, we're going to pull it out, push it in, pull it out, push it in, pull it out, push it in, out, in, out, in, then down, up, toward the sole, away from the sole, toward the sole and away, and then toward the little toe, and then the big toes side to side. So each toe is going to get its turn. So you want to take time so that the toes don't get jealous. Take time with each one of them and circumduct. Other way. Now we're finally at the piggy toe, so you're going to pull it out, push it in. This is a shorter toe, so keep everything straight. Pull it out, push it in, just like it's on a railroad track. It's got 4 wheels, and it's going this way and that way on a nice straight line. And then down and up and down and up. You can stabilize your foot with the other hand. Down and up. And away from the big other toes and toward the other toes. So you're taking it away and then toward the other toes. You can press, that feels nice. And now circle. So you're going to circle around 5 or 6 times one way and then go the other way. And of course, you are welcome to do more. You could pause the video and just take your time. Okay, so now we're going to take, depends on the flexibility of your toes. If your toes aren't really flexible, you can take your little finger and then just sort of, it's like you're flossing between your teeth. You can use your little finger to do this. But if you have a lot of flexibility, you can use your whole hand to floss in the spaces between the toes. So just move from one toe to another, flossing. If you really have a lot of flexibility, you can go all the way up to your palm. But don't force it, because if it doesn't feel good, it's not going to make your feet happy. And this is called happy feet, so think of how you're feeling here. And then the last crevice, we're going to do that. Flossing. Now, if your toes are flexible and they spread far apart, you can actually interlace your hand and foot like that and pull down and push up, pull down and up. If your feet aren't flexible, just take your whole hand and pull the toes down and then up. So you're pulling the toes down, pushing them up, pulling them down, pushing them up. This feels nice. It gives you a nice stretch on the top of your foot and also the arch of your foot. So I like to do this. And then again, if you can interlace your toes and fingers, you can hold like this while we do an ankle circle. So it's a passive ankle circle. If this isn't possible for you, just hold the whole foot. So we're going to go both ways. We just did one way, so now we're doing it. And you can use any hand hold that you like, but just make sure that you cover all the toes. I don't want anything to be left out. Okay, now take your knuckles. This is the longitudinal arch of your foot. So you're going to just sort of draw your knuckles along this longitudinal arch of your foot. You go from the baby toe and the toe next to that, the middle toe and the second toe, and just sort of smooth that area down. You can also go crosswise if you want, if that feels good to you. I think personally that I like the long way. Then you're going to use your thumbs and your other fingers to sort of take your toes close together and then away from each other like this. So I'm putting my thumbs here and I'm going to pull the toes together and then spread them apart. Pull them together here as my toes. Okay, then this is one of my favorite parts. You're going to wring your foot out as though it were a dish rag. So you take this hand and you put it over the toes. Then you take the other hand and you put it over the arch of the foot. And then you just twist in opposite directions I just love this. You can play around with where you position your hands. And then you can take your hand and squeeze your heel. And squeeze the whole foot, actually. And then finally, remember this twisting action. You can do this on your ankle too, which is nice. Get the Achilles tendon. And then for the rest of the calf, I just go one way. So you're just gonna sort of knead the calf around the bone. And this can be really nice too. And then if you want, you can just sort of tap the feet or pat the feet. Smooth them. And now compare your feet and look at your feet. Which foot is pinker, brighter? Which foot feels younger or more alive? And then what I recommend is that you pause the video and go for a walk and feel the difference, what it's like to walk with the other foot. So that's one foot. You can come back with me and do the other one when you're ready. So now we're going to take the other foot, and what's important here is that you already know what you did with the first foot, but don't rush the second one because you don't want to shortchange your foot so it doesn't get jealous. And so we're going to start again, pulling the toes out, pushing them in, pulling out, pushing in, pulling out, pushing in gently, and then draw the toe down, bring it up. You're drawing it down, you're bringing it up. Do that a few times. And now push the toes toward the other ones and then away, and pushing toward and away, toward and away. And then we can circumduct. So you're going to take the toe in a circle both ways 5 or 6 times. Moving on to the second toe, you're going to pull it out, cover the knuckles as you do this. So pull and push, keeping the knuckles on a straight line as you do this. And then pull down toward the sole of the foot, push up away, pull down. Noticing the range of motion here, maybe one toe is really flexible and the other ones aren't. So it's interesting to know this because it could be affecting the way you walk. Toes away from the big toe, toward the big toe, away and toward. Just play around with that. And then circumduct. And stabilize your foot so that you're really getting into that joint space. Go the other way. It's nice to be nice to your feet. They work so hard for us, and very often we don't take this kind of time. Okay, middle toe, pull it out, push it in, pull it out, push it in, pull, push, and then down toward the sole, away, and down, and away, and down, and away, and then away from the big toes, away from the little toes. You're right in the middle here. This is the middle child. And then circle. Other way. You're also getting a nice range of motion in your wrist as you're doing this. So one body part is sort of soothing the other. Okay, pull it out, push it in, pull it out, push it in, out, 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 in, and then down. So it's interesting, when you pull down on one, you can feel it on the top of your foot. And sometimes you think, wow, I didn't realize I was so stiff. And flexible feet are a real asset. Away from the big toes, toward the big toes, away and toward, away and toward. As much as possible, especially if you work at home, circle the toe. I really recommend that you work barefoot. You walk around barefoot. Go the other way. And do foot strengthening exercises, because the feet really need this. They need the strength, and they're supporting your entire body. So it's really a good idea to take good care of them. Okay, pull out, pull in, pull out, push in, pull out, push in. One more times. And then pull the little pinky toe down, push it up, down toward the sole, up toward the top of the foot. Keep going. Up, 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 down, 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 up, down, away from the big toes, toward the big toes. This can feel really nice. And the best part is, you can do it for yourself. You don't have to go anywhere, pay anybody. It's all in your own hands. Okay, circle the toe 4 or 5 times one way, and then the other way. Okay, so now we're going to floss. So again, with just your pinky finger, or if you want, if you've got the flexibility, you can use more of your hand to floss between the toes. So between the big toe and the second toe, and then move second toe and third toe. Do that a few times in the web of the foot. Press. And then move on to your next toes, making sort of a sawing, flossing motion. And then finally, between the 4th and 5th toe. Really getting all your toes. And then if you want, you can pull your toes down and push them up. You can also do this, if you have the flexibility, you can interlace your fingers and toes, pulling down and up. This is great for preparing for standing yoga asanas. Okay, then take your fist and begin to rake along the longitudinal arch. Go from one ray to the next ray, toes, feeling the bones underneath. You can go crosswise if you feel like doing that. Then take your thumbs and pull the big toe and the little toe together, and then spread them apart. So what you're doing here is you're really making space in the metatarsal joint. And now we're going to wring our feet out. So cover the toes and hold on and just wring the foot in opposite directions. You can move your hands around to get different angles. Do what feels nice to you. And then squeeze the heel. So you're just squeezing the heel. You can squeeze around the foot. You can squeeze around the toes. And then we're going to do this wringing motion again around the ankle. So one thumb is sort of on the low part of the Achilles tendon, the other one's up more toward the calf. And then begin to do your calf muscles. pat your foot, you can tap your foot, you can stroke your foot, whatever feels nice to you. And then look at both feet. Maybe it's easier to curl and spread your toes than it would have been if you hadn't have done this. And when you're through, you can get up and go for a nice walk.